In a chaotic Gotham, the mayor is found dead, sending shockwaves through the city. While crime boss Salvatore Maroni is captured, Batman navigates the wreckage, rescuing victims. The city's skyline is scared by the collapse of Gotham's pier. Mayor Boreal vows to restore order, but unrest grows as more deaths are reported, widening the divide between the rich and poor. Areas like Crown Point descend into chaos as gang violence, looting, and shortages worsen. The murder of Carmine Falcone deepens instability, sparking a brutal turf war. Alberto Falcone, struggling with alcoholism, is poised to take over. Meanwhile, the Penguin observes the chaos from his window, torn between love and hate for Gotham. He ventures out to a hidden factory, where he finds incriminating documents, jewelry, and photos of a prominent casino figure. Alberto, mistaking Oz for a thief, confronts him. Oz calmly explains he's safeguarding the jewels. As they talk, the mood shifts, and Alberto reveals plans to create a new market with a mysterious substance. He gives Oz a gold chain and a ring once owned by Maroni, symbolizing their alliance. Oz refuses the ring, sensing Alberto's insecurity. When Oz tells the story of a respected gangster, Alberto sees it as an insult and accuses Oz of mockery. Tension rises until Oz shoots Alberto in a moment of rage, then efficiently disposes of his body. Oz encounters a young thief, Victor Aguilar, attempting to steal from his car. Oz forces Victor to help him dispose of Alberto's body, threatening his family if he refuses. As they drive through Gotham, Oz notices they come from the same rough neighborhood. At a junkyard, Oz disposes of Alberto's body and gives Victor a choice: work for him or die. Victor begs for his life and Oz offers him a chance, with the warning that failure will mean death. Later, in Oz's apartment, Victor sees remnants of Oz's troubled past. As they drive through Gotham's ruined streets, Oz plans his next move, preparing to blackmail Councilman Haiti with incriminating photos from Alberto's phone. Despite a drug shipment being compromised, Oz orders it distributed, showing his ruthlessness. The news of an attack on Oz Alley interrupts their plans. Oz is summoned to meet crime bosses Johnny V and Milos Grau. They discuss relocating operations, but Oz warns the move could harm his business. As tension builds, Oz's mind races, already plotting how to turn the situation to his advantage. Frustrated, Oz protests that relocating operations to Robbinsville would show weakness, essentially surrendering control to Moronis. However, Johnny cuts him off firmly, stating they want to avoid war between families. Seeing a chance to gain their trust, Oz proposes a new substance that could outperform Gotham's current drug trade, offering to manage the entire process. He confidently assures them, "Let me handle it, and you'll watch your profits grow." The meeting takes a tense turn when Carmine Falcone's daughter, Sophia, enters. Without hesitation, she demands, "Where's my brother, Alberto?" Oz remains calm, claiming he hasn't seen Alberto since the previous night. He continues negotiating with Johnny and Milos, securing a 48-hour deadline to deliver results, but Sophia blocks his exit. Her piercing gaze demands answers. With little choice, Oz reassures her, "Alberto's a busy man. I'm sure he'll show up soon." Still skeptical, Sophia notices something strange as she approaches Oz's car, bullet holes in its body. "Your rise to power is impressive, though clearly dangerous," she remarks. Oz brushes it off as a failed robbery attempt and explains the damage. Despite Sophia's scrutiny, she shifts the mood by inviting him to lunch. Oz, sensing an opportunity, agrees. At the restaurant, Sophia's behavior reveals how deeply Arkham has affected her. Once poised, she now eats with abandon, indifferent to the stares of others. She recalls childhood visits to the restaurant with Alberto, when their father instilled discipline in them. Now she embraces the chaos of their lives. As patrons whisper about her notorious reputation, Sophia reveals that Alberto planned to visit Oz's club the night before but refused her company, both aware of the stakes surrounding the new substance. Sophia grows suspicious when Oz discusses it openly, questioning how he knows about it. "That confidence tells me one thing. You don't expect Alberto to come back," she says coldly. Oz quickly pivots, claiming, "Alberto and I were partners. He trusted me, but I didn't know you were involved. If I mentioned it, it's because I assumed he was off somewhere partying." Sophia's suspicion lingers. Oz then plays his final card, telling her, "Your brother's an addict. If you don't believe me, ask Eve Carlo. I spent the night with her and never saw Alberto." This explanation softens Sophia's mistrust, though she remains cautious. As she leaves, she warns, "Unlike the others, I don't underestimate you, Oz." After the tense lunch, Oz, Victor, and Falcone head to Gotham's underground subway, moving through the city's shadows to a secluded parking lot. Oz retrieves one of his discreet cars and drives them to his mother's house. Once there, Oz presents his mother, Frances, with a luxurious necklace and informs her that a trip will be needed soon. However, Oz soon realizes his mother has been neglecting her medication, causing hallucinations. She believes she sees children running through the house, and when she notices Victor, she orders him to leave. Calmly, Oz introduces Victor as his new assistant, who will help care for her. Frances, already agitated, accuses Oz of disrespecting her and demands to know what he's done to deserve being there. Under pressure, Oz confesses, "I killed Alberto Falcone." Sophia knows, or at least suspects. Surprisingly, Frances' response is not one of anger, but a mix of disappointment and pride. She reminds Oz that she didn't raise a coward, but a strong, ambitious son. She acknowledges that his actions are part of a greater plan to take control of Gotham. The next day, Oz assigns Victor his first task. Noticing Victor's hesitation, Oz confronts him. "I know your building was destroyed in the flood. I'm not sure if you have family, but you survived. Now, ask yourself what kind of life you want. Are you going to keep doing small-time heists, or do you want to live a life of luxury? This world isn't made for people like us. We have to take it. I could have killed you, but I didn't because I saw potential in you." Victor finally accepts the mission, disappearing to carry it out while Oz turns his attention to another crucial matter. Oz visits Salvatore Maroni in prison, carefully choosing his words. He expresses his frustration with the Falcones, offering his services to Maroni. "I used to eat the crumbs from the Falcones' table," Oz quips. But now he has access to their drug drop and the city's substances. He tells Maroni about the Falcones' plans to relocate, offering to help stage a robbery of their gods and machinery in exchange for a share of the profits. Maroni remains skeptical, but Oz presses, "Don't forget it was Carmen Falcone who took your respect. With me by your side, we can tear down the Falcone Empire and restore it to where it belongs." Oz's words hang in the air, full of promise and revenge. Maroni, though silent, is clearly reflecting on the offer. Suspicious, he demands Oz's true intentions, reminding him of his past tricks. "Leave," he orders, but the seed of alliance has been planted. Oz maintained his composure as Maroni dismissed him, his tone sharp and dismissive. "To hell with you." But as Oz turned to leave, he produced an object that halted Maroni in his tracks, an old mafioso ring. Handing it over with a cryptic smile, Oz said, "This ring is far more valuable than it seems." Maroni, stunned by the gesture, stared at the ring in silence, while Oz, with an air of quiet confidence, exited the prison. Back in Gotham, Oz's instincts told him something was off as he approached his club. In the distance, he spotted Sophia Falcone and her men lying in wait, their eyes locked on him. Realizing the danger, Oz tried to slip away unnoticed. But Sophia recognized the distinctive color of his car, and a dangerous chase ensued through Gotham's winding streets. Oz tried to contact Victor, but his calls went unanswered. The tension in the air grew as the road ahead was blocked, leaving Oz no choice but to abandon his car and flee on foot into the crowded city streets. His pursuers, relentless in their pursuit, didn't give up easily. But Oz had a plan. He'd hide in the trunk of his own car, thinking his pursuers would never think to look there. For a moment, it seemed like Oz had outsmarted them. But one of Sophia's thugs noticed something amiss and approached the car. Before the thug could alert the others, Oz, ever the predator, swiftly disarmed him and in one brutal motion stabbed him in the eye. Just as Oz prepared to finish him off, a school bus barreled down the street and ran over the thug, ending him instantly. Oz couldn't help but grin at the unexpected stroke of luck, but the moment was short-lived. Another thug, faster than expected, landed a well-placed blow, knocking Oz unconscious. When he regained consciousness, Oz found himself stripped of his clothing, tied up, and a gun shoved into his mouth. Sophia stood before him, her icy, calculating gaze fixed on him. "In Arkham, the guards did this to me every day," she began coldly. "They beat me until I no longer felt human. But it was my brother who visited me every week. He gave me strength, promising me there was something worth fighting for." Her voice grew darker as she stared intently at Oz. "Tell me, do you see me as anything more than a thing to play with?" Sophia then revealed her findings after investigating Oz's club. She found no evidence linking him to her brother's disappearance, but the color of his car led her to a group of thieves who tried to steal the tires. With a cruel, emotionless gesture, she presented one of the thieves she had captured. The young man confessed that the robbery had occurred the same night Alberto went missing. Oz feigned ignorance, denying any connection. "I don't know that kid," he claimed, his voice calm. Without hesitation, Sophia executed the thief in front of Oz. "Do you still think I'm crazy?" she asked, her voice devoid of emotion. Her piercing eyes bore into him as she took a knife and began torturing him, slicing beneath his arms, forcing him to answer her question again and again. "Is my brother alive?" The brutal interrogation continued until Sophia's patience snapped and she demanded, but before Oz could answer, a loud crash interrupted the moment. Something had collided with the mansion. Sophia rushed to investigate, her heart racing. To her horror, she found her brother Alberto's body in the trunk of a car, a simple note attached to his lifeless form. As she drew closer, the devastating truth became clear. Alberto was missing the finger that once wore their father's ring. Her anguished screams filled the room, echoing throughout the mansion. Oz watched from a distance, a malicious smile tugging at his lips. His revenge was complete. Later, when Oz met with Victor, the two exchanged a quiet understanding. After congratulating him on the success of the plan, Oz questioned Victor about the details. "Why didn't you follow my instructions?" he asked. "I told you to send just the head with the pinky finger. It would have been more poetic." Victor, still uneasy, explained, "When I was about to do it, the image of the organs and bones stopped me. I couldn't, so I brought him back whole." Oz paused, considering the answer. After a moment of reflection, he nodded. "It doesn't matter." Sophia got the message, and with Salvador holding her father's ring, were out of suspicion. A satisfied smile crossed Oz's face. "From now on, we'll take bigger risks, and since you've proven you have potential, I've decided you'll be my partner."